The Sports Scouting Report with Lieux King. Brought to you by Medines Collision Center in Baton Rouge. Take control, choose Medines. Grosse Savant Lodge, south of Lake Charles, the true sportsman's paradise. Treads and Care Company in Central, the tires you need, the service you want. Harvey Auto in Shreveport, Bossier City, the name you have trusted for years. And Gage in Baton Rouge. Get better connected with Gage. Here's your host, Lieux King.
Welcome back, Lieux King with the Sports Scouting Report podcast, also TV video show. We've got a great guest today. I love bringing on retired football coaches because we can just talk ball. You know what I mean? We can talk high school ball, college ball, pro ball, and all sports. You know, most football high school coaches grew up playing 2 or 3 sports. So we can talk baseball and basketball, track, and all of that stuff. But we've got a guest who hasn't been retired very long, but he's coached all over the South Louisiana. And he played a little ball in North Louisiana before he went to Southeastern College. But Jim Lieux is joining us, former Southeastern football player, former high school coach, was at Woodlawn in his later years. We'll talk about all the places he did coach. When we come back, we're going to have Jim Lieux, retired high school football coach. We're going to talk football. We'll be right back.
Listen, whatever you're driving right now, Tommy Harvey wants it. Bring it in to Harvey Subaru, Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City, or John Harvey Toyota. They're paying big bucks for all trades right now. They'll cut you a check right there. Tell them Lee sent you.
What does that bug man do?
Not only do we do pest control, we do odor control, bat removal, moisture control, rodents, and of course, bed bug control. Give the bug man a call. We get them before they get you.
Welcome back, everybody. We're at DiGiulio Brothers Italian Restaurant, one of the great Italian restaurants in Baton Rouge, off of Perkins Road, a mile from Acadian, and skipping a hop. You can hear the pans in the background with the kitchen. They're getting the food ready for lunch, but a half a mile from LSU. And we have a great guest today. Before I introduce him, I want to talk about Jim Lieux, who's a retired high school football coach, played at Southeastern, was an offensive lineman for Billy Brewer. If you don't remember that name and you're under 35 or under 40, Billy Brewer was the head coach at Ole Miss for a long time. And he went against Charlie McClendon. That's how long ago Brewer, and then he went to Southeastern in Hammond before they shut the program down. And they restarted it again with, if you remember, a coach by the name of Hal Mummy came in. And they relied, and now they're doing a great job right now in Hammond, Louisiana. But he coached at Woodlawn in Baton Rouge, Hammond High School, Riverdale in New Orleans. Southeastern was his first job out of college. Hammond Middle, Delta State College, Nicholls State with Sonny Jackson. I miss Sonny, the late Sonny Jackson. Great coach. Bel Air, East Ascension High School for a year. Bruley with Brady Perry. White Castle, the head coach, and Denham Springs.
Nolan Gill.
Thanks for joining
Well,
us,
thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
I ran into you, and I hate that we ran into each other where we ran into each other. You lost a good friend, ex-coach. I lost someone that I got to know the last 10 years as a coach and a friend, Jim Gundarian, who just passed away. Coached Ponchatoula for a long time with Hank Turney, and also at Shaw. Coach Steve Mott that went to Alabama, made All-American. Joe Arbergamo had like 20 Division I centers that went on to play ball and coached over 45 years.
Yeah, what a good
And that's where I ran into you at his funeral.
What a good guy. He was
Great
always
guy.
a positive guy, a lot of fun to be around, really knew the game.
Coached at Southeastern.
Yes, he was a graduate assistant my senior year. And back then knew a lot of football and was able to give us some tips on different things, getting your stance, coming out your stance, things to look for. Just a real fine, outstanding person.
Great guy, and hate that we had to run into each other there, but condolences to Jim's family and daughters. He's got 3 daughters.
Yeah.
And God bless them, and I know we'll see him again one day. I wanted to show a picture. Jim, I was talking to Jim, and this is comical, but I said, Jim, do you have an old helmet? I don't know where it's at. Do you have cleats or anything? But you did find a picture. It's a picture of the Southeastern, your lineman group, back when you played at Southeastern. And those old hairdos.
It was actually our senior class.
Senior class.
Yes.
Of Southeastern. And when you see the picture right now, you see those old 70s, late 70s hairdos, which I love, man. And Jim's in the back row, I believe. Mm-hmm. And you'll know who he is. But there's a lot of guys in that picture that were pretty good players. And
yeah, we had some excellent ball players that we played with. Lyle Walker was transferred from Ole Miss, came in. He was all everything, all conference. Lyle actually went free agent with Dallas Cowboys, tore a tricep in camp, second day of camp, but still made it all the way to the last cut. And but we had some really good outstanding players at Southeastern at that time.
And most of your O-line group was at Coach Jim Gandarian's funeral.
Right.
It's good to see the whole group there.
Yeah, it was good to see those guys.
Speaking of high school coaching, and you coached a little college ball, what did you enjoy the most, Jim, about waking up every day, going to high school and, obviously molding these young men, but you did it a long time.
Yeah, about 30-something years. Being around young people, and I say young people, high school students that you could talk to, help impress upon them, things they weren't being told, like, what do you want to do the rest of your life, especially by the time you get to be a junior. And college recruiting wasn't anything like it is now. Right. It was, but it wasn't. And talking to kids about trying to lead them. All right, what do you think you want to do? You want to be a coach? You want to be a trainer? You want to be a doctor? This is some things you need to think about. And when taking courses, taking classes, one thing nobody ever talked to them about is, well, not only what do you want to do, how long do you want to work? Nobody ever asked us that. We didn't know. We just went along with everybody. Okay, I guess we'll work till 65 and then retire. But, if you want to be a doctor, of course you have med school till you're 26, 28, and then you work till you're 65 or however. But if you in something that you're making a bunch of money, you might only want to work till you're 45 or 50 and retire.
And Jim, I remember this going to school, just being a student, and this will bring back memories for you, but I remember there was one day a year where the guidance counselor would have everybody in the auditorium talking about college.
Right.
It was only one day.
Right. And one guidance counselor.
And one guidance counselor.
For 230 people.
And if you're not there that one day, or you just do the one day, you're not thinking, I need to go talk to my guidance counselor about how do I get in LSU or Southern or McNeese?
Well, we were so fortunate way back in the 70s, guidance counselors were guidance counselors. And I can remember I went to a guidance counselor to set up my schedule for my senior year. And the guidance counselor, she goes, are you going to college? Yes. Well, you need to take two things. You need to take a thematic literature, learn how to write, and you need to take typing. And I said, why? Because you're going to do papers in college. And so I ended up taking both of those, which really helped. I didn't really learn how to type, but I did enough to hunt and peck to do what I need to do. And just little things like that.
We're going to take a break, but if you're a mom or dad watching and your kid's a freshman in high school, go to the guidance counselor and just ask questions. Yeah. Get your son or daughter to ask questions about when do you got to apply to college? Because sometimes you got to do it a year in advance before you're a senior, certain schools. Yeah. Dartmouth and some of these other schools, you got to get ahead of the curve, and they're there. They're not always saying, hey, I'm here. You just got to go see them. We're going to take a break. We got more of Coach Jim Lieux, and we're going to talk about college football, high school football, recruiting, how it's changed, and our least favorite topic, the portal. The portal and NIL. We'll be right back.
Gros Savon Lodge, the true sportsman's paradise. Gros Savon Lodge has fresh and saltwater fishing, alligator hunting, waterfowl hunting, and eco tours located south of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Give them a call at 337 337-598-2357. That number to call again is 337-598-2357, and have the time of your life. Listen, whatever you're driving right now, Tommy Harvey wants it. Bring it in to Harvey Subaru, Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City, or John Harvey Toyota. They're paying big bucks for all trades right now. They'll cut you a check right there. Tell them Lee sent you.
Welcome back. You're watching the Sports Scouting Report podcast, TV show, video. Go to wherever you get your podcast. Be sure to share it, like it, and also subscribe for free. YouTube. Hopefully Coach will do it, and some of our guests today to go on and just help us grow a little bit. You get the subscription free. You get the notifications for the show and share it. Or you go to Twitter or Facebook or go to our website, lafootballmagazine.com, to get our shows, which we'll be going to have some great stories and articles. Started in June, we're going to start putting up a lot of our previews of our high schools. Something we used to do in the magazine. So we're going to do that. I'm going to write a lot of it. We got some interns. They're going to do a lot of writing. You're not going to miss that. Go on our website and then obviously YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts and Twitter. We're at DiGiulio's Brothers Italian Restaurant on Perkins Road. We've got Jim Lieux with us, retired high school football coach, Southeastern football player back in the day. And Jim, you were telling me a story about West Texas. Can you share your West Texas story with the viewing audience?
Sure. At the time, I was playing for Northeast, now ULM.
ULM of Monroe.
John David Crow was our head coach.
Wow.
Former Heisman Trophy winner.
From Spring Hill.
Yes, yeah, Louisiana guy. But anyway, so we're going out and play West Texas State, which is now West Texas A&M.
Okay.
And so we're getting ready to fly out of Monroe. First time I'd ever flown, been on an airplane. I'm 18
Freaking
years
out.
old. Yeah, 18 years old, get on a plane. Everybody was dressed up, nice pair of pants, short sleeve shirts, all that. So we leave, we fly. First time I'd ever flown, get up in the air and it banked like that. And I pushed my foot back against, like, I'm gonna stop this. It's like, no, okay, well, good. I'm in your hands, the man on the
this
stage.
is not looking good.
So we land in Amarillo, Texas, and unbeknownst to us, they had a big storm come through about 3 hours before we got there. Well, it started snowing, and
Whoa.
it snowed like a foot in about 2 hours. So they kept the airport open for us, and they had to go out and scrape it. Well, when we land, the plane went off the runway and came back. And so we get there, and it's like 15 degrees above zero. Well, we go in, we didn't have any pregame practice on Friday, whatever, so because of the snow. So that night, we go to bed and
Still gonna play a game on Saturday?
Oh yeah. So it was like Saturday, it was like 0 degrees.
God.
So at 12 o'clock, it stopped snowing like somebody just cut a machine off. So they let the snow get hard on the field, and they scrape the field. And when we get out there, it's 0 degrees. And their field is like ULL down on the ground. So they had about 20-mile-an-hour wind blowing.
Wow.
And we're out warming up, and we had nothing but a football uniform on. And so we go out to warm up and running around, and it was fine. We were in all white. Well, playing the game, one of our receivers caught a ball out of bounds, and we lose him in the snow. White uniforms with white snow. All of a sudden, as fast as he went in, he pops up like a spring, and because he didn't want to be in. So anyway, so it was so cold you could take your mouthpiece out between plays, and it would freeze a spit. I ran down on a kickoff and hit a guy in the helmet, split my hand open.
Oh, man.
Didn't even know it, and I'm running off the field, and the guy hitting my pants, and I get to the sideline. Trainer goes, "Where are you bleeding?" I'm not bleeding. I look down. As it would bleed, it would freeze out.
So you didn't have any Dan Marino Panasonic gloves?
No, that was before gloves came out. So the funniest thing is my dad and a friend of his, Mr. Holden Roussel,
Holden Roussel?
Yes,
Wow.
Mr. Holden.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
he and Young Holden was my roommate.
Wow.
So they fly out,
Wow.
and 35 people at the game, 0 degrees. The game ends up 58-41 because nobody wants to tackle each other. 99 points scored, over 1,000 yards total offense. Well, at halftime, Mr. Roussel and my dad walked down because they were only 2 people on our side. They walked down and had these big blower heaters on the sideline, and my dad had on a pair of double knit pants with a pair of cowboy boots.
Oh,
Well,
no.
he stood so close to the heater,
no.
his pants catch on fire. So then he has to jump into the snow
to get cooled off.
to keep her from burning
Well,
up.
who won the game?
Well, we got beat.
Y'all got beat?
58-41. But
Who got frostbite?
pretty much everybody. we go in after the game, and the shower is on as hot as you can buy, and they're hitting us, and it's like little BB needles going in us. We were lucky nobody.
Wow.
But it was one of those things where you kind of wanted to go into the game because you get off the sideline and stay decently warm.
They wouldn't play that game today.
No.
And y'all didn't have the stuff to be ready for the 0 degrees.
Yeah. Even if we would have brought stuff, it wouldn't have been enough.
Unbelievable.
The coldest I've ever been.
Wow.
And it's like,
Northeast College,
that's it.
which is now ULM of Monroe.
Right.
Every guy remembers that day.
The people that made the
Your
trip.
dad, he lost part of his
Oh,
pants.
yeah. You look down there
Burned
and
it off.
about an inch of his pants was burned off. Just singed.
Any stories that you want to share of Southeastern days?
Yeah, we got my Southeastern coach Billy Brewer.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm going to say this. I was very fortunate to play college ball under two outstanding coaches.
Two great names.
Yes. Billy Brewer was such a good football coach. He was still coaching DBs when I went there in spring of '78.
Man.
And then he hired a guy to come and coach DBs. But yeah, we go play Murray State in Murray, Kentucky. 12-hour bus ride. How crazy is this? 12 hours up there. So we stay at a resort.
It didn't snow, did it?
No, it was early in the year in September, nice and cool in western Tennessee, Kentucky. Stay at a resort, Kentucky Blue Lakes, Island Blue Lakes, really nice. So when we get there, I don't know how they figured this out, but we ate buffet for every meal. Friday night, Saturday.
Y'all ate them out of it.
Yes. And we ate so much food that our offensive line coach, Bob Ricketts, who's passed away now, he said, boys, we have eaten well. He said, a hungry lion goes hunting for food. A fat lion just sits in the corner because he can't move. He said, y'all need to beat that hunger.
Did y'all win that week?
Yeah, we won.
Still won.
Fortunately, played on some turf that was terrible. Had ant piles in it. It was just.
I bet the guy that had the buffet was trying to run y'all out of there.
Oh well, he could. We ended up spending Saturday night, which we never did, and drove back 12-hour bus ride Sunday.
Wow.
But yeah, that was something about being able to eat buffet for every meal.
In the 70s.
Yes. Imagine 80 college football players.
And 10 linemen.
Oh man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jim, that's a heck of a story too, man.
Yeah, we ate well.
Some benefits to being a poor college student, huh?
That's right. Right.
We got some time left in this segment. We're gonna take a break. We got one more segment. When we bring Jim back, we're gonna talk about the portal. Not spend too much time on it. We're gonna talk about great coaches in Louisiana. Let's talk about some programs for this year coming up. I'm gonna share that with Jim. I went and saw or watched most of the teams that are coming back for this year in the state of Louisiana. The Zacharys, the Western Rose, the Nevilles, the Rustons, the Catholic High Baton Rouges, the Jesuits, the Brother Martins. We'll talk a little bit of high school football. We'll be right back.
What does that bug man do?
Not only do we do pest control, we do odor control, bat removal, moisture control, rodents, and of course, bed bug control. Give the bug man a call. We get them before they get you.
Gros Savon Lodge, the true sportsman's paradise. Gros Savon Lodge has fresh and saltwater fishing, alligator hunting, waterfowl hunting, and eco tours located south of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Give them a call at 337-598-2357. That number to call again is 337-598-2357, and have the time of your life.
Welcome back, Lee Burkeen with the Sports Scouting Report podcast. We've got a great guest. Really glad to have our guy here. And Jim is Jim Lieux, former Southeastern football player, offensive lineman, coached a long time high school football, retired, still keeps up with everything. I want to mention in this segment, start out about great coaches. Coached with a lot of great coaches over the years. He told me Don Zimmerman in New Orleans, Riverdale, De La Salle, Al Pontiff. Don Jones, who Plaquemine and Woodlawn, and You know, he was at Winfield back in the day. I love Don and all the Brady Perry, another great guy at Bruley. Dale Weiner, you thought high Dale at Catholic High. Yeah. And Mike Suggs, who was in Shreveport at Byrd, retired a couple of years ago, did a phenomenal job. And I'm going to mention some guys right now that are still coaching that are really like the tier guys now. Louis Cook at Notre Dame, Hank Turney, J.T. Curtis. I mean, that wins-wise, it's like 2,000 wins with these three guys. Stephen Fitzhugh at Ouachita Christian. And then, you know, David Feaster, we talked about David. He took a job with Louisiana Christian, which was Louisiana College. They changed their name in Pineville. They're NAI now, Coach, right, from D3. Right. Believe it or not, you go NAI, you have money now.
Yeah.
You thought D3 you don't, but NAI, they have money for scholarships. Mm-hmm. And we're leaving some people out, but those are the veterans.
Jim
Hightower. Incredible coach at STM and has won some state championships later in his career. Yeah. Any comments about any of these guys?
I worked with Don for 7 or 8 years at Woodlawn. What a good guy to work for. Worked long hours and long days, but got a lot done. One of the best offensive guys I've ever been around. Brady is a great guy. Number one, he's a great person. Number two, he's good at getting kids to do what they need to do. He could motivate kids. Those good guys like that. I mean, Nolan Gill, when I was at Denham,
Glen Oaks too.
Nolan could get kids to do anything and everything. David Lesage, when I was at Bel Air.
Oh, man.
He was a guy. Yeah. He was the only guy I've ever been around at Bel Air at that time. And he was the AD, head football coach, dean of students, and he had the energy to do all three of those jobs.
Probably cut the grass, too.
Pretty much anything and everything. Of course, he had a good support group. He had Mac Watts as principal, Rick Wenzel as principal.
I want to mention this, Don Jones.
Uh-huh.
You talk about respect. I was going to practice. Practice ended at Woodlawn. I think you were still coaching. Mm-hmm. But Don, I said, Don, where are you going? He said, I'm going to wash all the clothes.
Yeah.
I said, Don, and he was probably almost 70 years old at the time, toward the end of his career. And he said, no, I'm in charge of all practice pants, all jerseys.
Yeah.
I handle the washroom.
Not only did he do that, he painted the field. He lined the field. I mean, we helped him.
But people don't realize coaches do.
Yeah. I mean, on Thursdays before a home game, he's out there pulling lines and painting, and we're along with him. But, he took it upon himself because that's how he learned that he was over everything. He was over the cage on equipment. He hung the jerseys. He had he had numbers. He had hangers that had numbers.
System.
Yes. So.
I want to mention this. You told me 3 kids that stick out to you that you coached in high school ball that you really respected a lot. Chris Williams at White Castle played in an all-star game. John Franks at Pensacola Tate. You were at Pensacola Tate. Played at McNeese State. And then Hilton Young, De La Salle, New Orleans, you coached, played at McNeese State. Mm-hmm. Guys that you said
Chris Williams might be the best athlete I've ever coached. He was a guy that he played football, he played basketball, didn't run track, didn't care to play baseball. But his senior year, he was a receiver and a free safety. Yeah. He had 19 interceptions his senior year.
Whoa.
And we played in a four-team district. And he had most of them there. And then not only did he do that, he ended up playing a high school all-star football game. He was a basketball player. They won the state championship. He is outstanding player in 1A basketball for the state. And I think he might have played in the high school all-star basketball game there.
And at White Castle, he played both sides of the ball.
Yes, he was a receiver and a DB.
No rest.
None. Never came off the field.
Coach, talk about we're going to go a little quicker and skip more in, but I know you're not a big fan of the portal. I'm not a fan of it. What's your take on it now that you're watching this go down?
Well, I think this. At one time, if you transferred, the rule was get 24 hours to be eligible, however you did it. All right. Now, I think the transfer portal, I don't think a lot of people still like it, but you have to if you're going to stay at the top, you have to use it.
Yeah.
And use it to your advantage. And it's become another recruiting season rather than just high school. So it really makes those guys have to work that much more. And I don't like it, but it's because there's no loyalty.
Yeah.
And it used to be that in the pros, and they're trying to filter the pro game down to the college game and leave the college game alone with a lot of things. NIL.
We won't even go there. I want to get some other stuff in, but changing the subject.
Sure.
LSU spring game. I went. I know you follow LSU. People say, "What do you think LSU is going to do this coming year?" They're still going to bring in 5 to 8 more transfers.
Right.
That's how crazy this world is. But it's for depth purposes, not for starters as much. But from watching LSU in the spring, not the spring game, because as you know, they know what they have before the spring game.
Right.
The linebacking core for LSU with Perkins. This Omar Speet, who they got from Oregon State, Greg Penn, Whit Weeks, who had an interception for a touchdown as a backup, as a true freshman. This is the best linebacking core I've seen at LSU, Coach, in 20-something years.
It's been a while.
And the D-line, Mason Smith, and all the great linemen. They have Miko Wingo, who was a hell of a player last year. They're deep on D-line. I'm a defensive guy. If you got a great defense, I think your offense catches up. I think they got a great deal. They got 2 great quarterbacks in Nuss and Daniels, who looks like he's put on some good weight. And wide receiver Kyron Lacey has improved a ton from Thibodeau. That catch he made looked like Beckham part 2. But linebackers is a heart of that defense. It's a heart of your team. Because if you don't have good safeties, right, Coach, you got those downhill linebackers like Pac-Man.
Well, and Coach House has been on bunch of different levels, and he's recognized what those guys can do and put them in the best positions. Harold Perkins, he's a guy where you just got to put him on the field. It really don't matter where you put him, but he's got to be. And whether he's inside backer the first 2 downs and outside guy for the last or whatever, but he's just such a great athlete. He's got to be on the field, and I don't think everybody recognizes that. In the scheme that Coach House plays, is for that. You know? So.
I want to mention too, Coach. I want to give some shout-outs. Walk-ons are not mentioned very much, but they're out there and sweating like the rest of them, and they don't quit. And they're usually the smaller guys on the team, and they're getting hit by these big-time players,
live dummies,
and they're out there. They're not playing a lot during the season, but I was glad and happy to see spring allows the whole team to play and get reps. Guys like Matt Jane from John Curtis that walked on, Sloan Wright from St. Thomas More. This kid was a tackle, Coach, at 6'1", 220 in high school. Now he's a linebacker, walked on at LSU. But it's good to see these walk-ons. One's going to get a scholarship. Giovanni Peterson, the tight end from, believe it or not, Valor, Colorado. Was a student walk-on, 6'4", 255. Become a player. So, there's always an opportunity there.
Unknown. An unknown that's trying to be known. That, they see he's got a little potential. He's got the size. They can feed him right, train him right. He might end up being down the road 6'7", 285.
So I want to put you on the spot here before we go.
Sure.
I'm predicting LSU to go 11-1 during the season. I'm not adding on the bowl wins.
I agree with that.
So I've got them going another win over last year, and maybe go 12-13 wins. You never know.
I think they can go far. I think if everything falls right, SEC might have 2 teams again in the playoffs. I can see LSU doing that. Georgia was really good. Alabama was kind of down, but they're still still good.
New quarterback, no Stetson.
Yeah, but LSU played Georgia very well.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, they just didn't have enough.
Yeah,
Georgia has built up their program where they have the depth to just keep, change in guys, and LSU's working to get there.
That's why I think they're going to be better with more defensive depth, and you can get through a season with not as many guys on your O-line, and their O-line is going to be great with Campbell, Emory Jones, all the guys coming back, and this should be a great year for the quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels and Nussmeyer. They're both seasoned now.
Well, and Jaden Daniels has that. He has that natural ability. I don't know. You look at his feet.
Yeah, he can.
His
nimble.
feet are so good. You know, Nussmeier's a guy. What a great guy to have, because he's kind of like in the Manning thing. Grew up going to camps with his dad, throwing passes in camps. You know, this is your read. Make the read. Get the ball out. Pre-snap. He was. You know, he's like that and can do that. And
who's going to be the loss? I always say it's that trap game. I think they beat Florida State and Orlando because they're more ready for them. They're more seasoned.
And they'll out-athlete them.
But it's that trap game. Is it going to be an Ole Miss? Is it going to be a? It's always a trap game.
It depends on Ole Miss and Auburn, I think. You know, Hugh Freeze will do a good job. I don't know if he's going to have his guys ready. Lane Kiffin, you never count him out, but. And he's got a new defense coordinator, a guy from Hammond.
Yeah.
Goldie.
And Florida don't have a quarterback.
Right. Oh, darn. Ain't that a shame?
You got to have a quarterback. There you go. In Mississippi State, we'll see what they have. They lost their fifth-year quarterback that started
and
4 years. And coach.
Yeah.
Way too young.
Right.
Way too young.
Right.
Jim, Lieux, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Enjoyed
talking football
My
with you.
pleasure.
This is the easiest interview when you just go all over the place. I love your West Texas story. And before we go, I want to mention this. We can't tell the whole story. I'll just tease it. But Coach said that at ULM, which was Northeast back then, that at the end of the night, the day before the game, that Coach would have treats for him at the end of the night, whether it was pies or candy or whatever it was. And they'd come to your room and offer you what you wanted, as a gift
on the road.
On the road,
yeah.
Which is John David Crow. That's a heck of a man to do that.
Yeah, he was a good guy. Yeah. And also, I want to say shout out to Coach Oscar Lofton. What a great fella. He gave me my first job. Took a chance on me, and just outstanding person and football coach and.
Southeastern, longtime San Francisco 49ers scout. Had him on our show about 10 years ago. Oscar's a great guy. We appreciate everybody watching. Be sure to check us out with Coach Lieux. We talk football, and we will see you on next Wednesday.
Thanks for listening to the Sports Scouting Report podcast with Lee Burkeen.